remember the first time you met him, Nora?
Yes, I do. It was at a concert I think you did, as part of the Folk Alliance maybe, about 20 years ago. And a friend of mine had said, you should hear him, and I went to your set. And it's engraved in like a movie in my memory. It's a moving picture in my memory. It's not a static photo, it's a moving picture. I can see you, the tone of your voice, the way you sang, the way you held your guitar. And for me, that was it, you know? And it's funny because you encompass this space in my life and my work with Woody. And it's a singular space. There's only room for one person, you know, in this place that you hold, and it's you. And if there's not 10 people, there's not other people, it's just you. And that's the impression that you made on me the first time I heard you sing.
Oh.
Your career basically, as I hear it through you as well, this is a person who is carrying on Woody, his music, interpreting Woody, but unlike a lot of the other bigger stars who were doing it and would come for the evening to do it and present, you were living it. You embodied more than just the songs. You embodied the message, if you will, of Woody Guthrie and a lot of what you've done. And I think first time I met you and the first time I actually heard your work, and I mentioned this today in an earlier interview, that you seemed the one to be the most authentic of it all. Not just because you lived in Oklahoma, grew up in Oklahoma, but because you carried, you'd become a student of Woody in a lot of ways.
Yes.
How did that happen?
Well, it's just the more I listen to his lyrics, and then you start going down all the other things what he did, and just all the amazing paths he followed. You know, here's a man that had a radio show, fought the Ku Klux Klan in the swamps of Florida, merchant marine, his fascination with Einstein. There's so much more to him than, you know, just that these Dust Bowl motif that he was put into. I don't think people realize all the other aspects of Woody, and it just fascinating. And it just keeps going and going and going.
You, though, it's interesting, and I know there are a lot of fans of yours out there. You interpreted Woody, but as you developed as a songwriter, you might have used Woody as a springboard, but you were an imitator of him. You had gradually created your own style. There was a Jimmy LaFave style that went beyond Woody as you progressed and matured as a songwriter. Who were some of the other influences on your music besides Woody at this critical time?
Of course, Bob Dylan, of course, and just you know, even like from Tulsa, J.J. Cale. I loved his music. Yeah, you know, just all the, I don't know, just all the, even, you know, Jackson Browne. I always loved Jackson Browne music. And Bruce, of course, which, you know, Bob's very connected with the Springsteen, and I think Bob, through that, understands what I'm going through, because Bruce's manager, Barbara Carr, her daughter died of the same cancer. So Bob knows what a bleak, unpositive thing. You really can't beat this type of cancer. So it's, yeah, Bruce, and then of course just all the, you know, Joni Mitchell I mentioned, all those folks, but maybe a lot of the Okie songwriters and the Guy Clarks and the people in Texas, you know, Joe Ely, all the great Lubbock songwriters, and so yeah, they all just meant so much to me. But Oklahoma still is kind of my springboard of when I want to get inspiration. I would still come up here and play music with my Okie friends, and I think along the way I kept telling Nora, there's more to Oklahoma than you think, and I think over those years we knew each other. When Nora came here in she got it when she saw Tulsa, and the spirit here, and the energy, and I think she knew this is where my dad's stuff belongs. Where maybe before it's like, oh, Oklahoma, they never really, they didn't like my dad. And Mary Jo knows that too. She knows all the. I was talking about how how Oklahoma felt about your dad for many, many years, but it's turned full circle, and they love Woody Guthrie here in Oklahoma now. And he's just been a blessing to bring his archives back here to Tulsa.
You're talking about my dad?
Yes.
Yes. Woody.
Brother. Yes.
My brother.
Your brother Woody, yeah. Just how we love him. I'm just saying how much we love him.
My hearing has been very last-thing to go.
Well.
I apologize. I think I was kind of like you talking.
Well,
Now, what did you want me to know?
Oh, nothing. I was just saying we love your brother Woody. That's all it was.
That's all.
We're just saying we love Woody.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But now for the state song to be Oklahoma Hills, and I think a lot of, and it's true that a lot of reason Dylan agreed to bring his archives here is because of this.
That's right.
So it's just all those connections you're talking about, people putting people together, and it all started really with Nora, lifting the veil off the archives. They were in that office in New York City for so many years, and now they're just all this beauty, all this art, all this family.
You've done many Woody Guthrie songs in your career. Which one is your favorite, and one that's most meaningful to you personally?
Well, probably Oklahoma Hills,
Yeah.
and some from here, but I'd also like, of course, everybody loves Steve Forte.
You do a great version too.
yeah. But I think probably my favorite now is this new one I got to write with in Peacetown. It just really speaks to me. But even all the musicians on the session said, wow, this song is in my head now. I can't get it out. And then my friend Jamie Harris came. She may be in here. She came and sang some harmonies. And she just heard Jane that sang on it were blown away,
Yeah.
So it's probably my favorite Woody song now is Peacetown.
Yeah. As an American musician and performing artist, you spent a lot of time on the road. You spent a lot of time playing coffee houses, festivals, clubs, concert halls, etc. That takes a special kind of person to be out there night after night, plying your trade, making contact, and the initial challenge of seeing an audience, meeting the expectations of the audience, and then hopefully going beyond those expectations. How did you do that? I mean, that's a lot of time to log on the road, countless gigs. You love it? Was this something that
Yeah, and
was
I think the people keep you going. The people that, Butch Hancock, at our level my level of songwriting, and these circuits we travel, the house concerts,
Yeah.
the mini festivals. Butch Hancock always says, Jimmy, we sell dozens of records to discriminating listeners and small pockets of good taste. And that's always like this, and it's so much more rewarding than being, Boy George for a year, never being heard from again. Matter of fact, our friend Paul Metza said that. He said, Jimmy, people like you are obscurely. Matter of fact, after I got to sing just me and Bruce on stage together at the Verizon Center in Dallas, doing Oklahoma Hills. I think 2 nights later, I had a gig at a kind of a biker bar down the hill country. Someone had been at that huge. He goes, I don't get it, dude. You were like with Springsteen. He goes, I go, well, my friend of mine said, musicians like me, we're kind of obscurely famous. We're kind of, and But he said the good thing about obscurity is it never goes out of style.
But you, sir, look, as we know here and is demonstrated in many of the places where I'd seen you, whether it was Cleveland, Ohio, or Jersey, or whatever, you had a very, and you still do, a very loyal following. There are people who have followed your career for many, many years, and I know they appreciate what you've given them. We talked about this earlier in the day, where when you write a song, you know, one of your main responsibilities as an artist is to give it to your audience, and it's almost like a gift to them. So when you write songs, where is the inspiration coming from, and where do you write? Are you writing on the road? Where does this come from for you personally?
Yeah, mainly on the road I do write. And then I have a little pocket recorder. I'll hum a melody, or I'll just see certain words and I'll write them down. They all kind of, some of the songs are kind of composites, but they fit together in some weird, world of songwriting.
Are many of your original songs autobiographical?
Yeah, I think so, because I don't like to really make up phony stories, Like, a lot of my friends go to Nashville for their writing sessions, and they get with other writers, and they say, the subject's going to be, we need a song about a train, and let's pretend there's a girl and a guy. They're just making up people. I'd rather go ride on a train and really find a story that's...
To play devil's advocate on that, when you do that, you expose a lot of yourself, So I'm thinking one or two things, that you have the confidence, self-confidence, and the courage to do that, or as some songwriters have told me, it's a form of therapy, that you actually write about yourself and you kind of work things through. Was that true?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all songwriters would tell you that. That's pretty common thing, yeah. So, and the thing with me too is I love songs so much that you might go to one of my shows and only do 4 of mine and 10 of it, because I've never had problems singing someone else's song, especially if it really spoke to my heart or a situation that was going on.
Take us through one of your songs. Pick any one that you want that you have written, and talk about its origins and how it actually came together, so we can understand for the record your creative process.
Yeah, I'm trying to think here. There's one song I wrote years ago called "When I See You Again." I was thinking about this feeling I would get when I saw this certain person, and I thought, what else gives me that feeling? So it was things that it starts out, trains late at night. I love trains late at night. And it said the traveling shoes. I love traveling. Dogs in the country, I love. Moaning the blues, and then lost on the landscape, my thumb in the wind. That's the feeling I get when I see you again. And then it has a child's innocence, great big thunderclouds, Bob Dylan records and the carnival crowd, beautiful ladies, forgiveness of sin. This is the feeling I get when I see you again. Then it has more verses, but just things that I think one line's thoughts way up high, moon hanging low, abandoned bus stations. I love abandoned bus stations. AM radio, beat generation highways that bend. It's the feeling I get when I see you again. Because those are things that just make me feel good.